Good morning. I am Steve, and this video is me reading from Thomas Hubel's book, Attuned, Practicing Interdependence to Heal Our Trauma and Our World. And so I've been reading it. We're on page 21 now. We actually finished page 21, but I'm going to read the last paragraph of 21 and then see where we go from there. But you need kind of that introduction to understand the words of the following pages. And this is from, a section. So it might be a chapter. It might just be a, section heading. And it's called From Rigidity to Flow. And Thomas writes, habits are essential to our lives and are even useful for our survival. But without noticing, we can become calcified, rigid, resistant to change, and therefore not resilient in the face of it. However, with awareness and presence, we can better move from rigidity into flow, recognizing when new energy is needed and adapting outmoded habits to embrace change. So that was the last part of the reading from yesterday. And then on page 22, it goes on. It's wise to engage practices that help us to do so. For instance, famed quantum physicist Werner Heisenberg liked to take walks after working too long at his desk or in the lab. During those walks, he did his best thinking, and sudden inspiration often came to him. Writers William Wordsworth, Virginia Woolf, Charles Dickens, C.S. Lewis, and Henry David Thoreau were all walkers. Aristotle, Einstein, and Salvador Dali found inspiration during naps. Countless other artists and geniuses prefer gardening, sailing, knitting, cooking. That's for John, cooking, meditating, or simply taking a hot shower. What all these have in common is that they tend to expand one's sense of space. With more space comes more availability and presence, so that inspiration and light, conscious and embodied awareness, can flow in. With more space comes more availability and presence, so that inspiration and light, conscious and embodied awareness, can flow in. When we are bent to a given task for too long, however, a feeling of tension and pressure eventually starts to build. We need to move or rest or otherwise shake ourselves loose from our efforts. Taking time to recharge is essential so that new energy, higher inspiration, and fresh creativity can enter again. Only from an open space of renewal can we access emergence or future flow, the flow of new potentials and new futures. Without rest, we're left to draw from habit and the structures of the past. When we live any area of our lives too habitually or unconsciously, perhaps we find ourselves repeating negative relationship patterns, or simply denying our deepest purpose and calling. Energetic blocks form, and we eventually feel discomfort. This is the result of evolutionary pressure. Our habits and structures have become too narrow for the light seeking to flow through us. On some level, we can always sense the need for change. We know prolonged resistance is an invitation to crisis, wherein the pipes will burst and we will break open. If we listen to the evolutionary tension, however, we can use it to inform a path of growth. Often the tension is telling us to release our habits for a moment and lean into the unknown, the new, the liminal edge where emergence arises. As we connect to that edge place, there is often a feeling of light pouring in. We have all felt this sometime in life, perhaps during a healing therapy session. The moment that a vital breakthrough is reached, suddenly we see everything differently, with new wisdom and wonder. Perhaps during a difficult conversation or a moment of conflict, some new quality of understanding is touched, and it feels as if there is suddenly more space in the room through which grace and peace and light can enter. Or after working long and hard to solve an intractable problem, we feel a sudden aha. The proverbial light bulb switches on, illuminating us with new insight and energy. In these moments, there is an upgrade in the capacity to witness, an elevation of awareness. Conversely, when I'm stressed or shut down, distracted, disconnected, and dissociated, I have less space and a reduced capacity for inner witness. In that state of contraction, I'm more likely to become over-identified with my thoughts and emotions, habits, and what those little marks are, or constricted by the sensation of physical pain or discomfort. It becomes difficult to listen and communicate or solve problems. I feel too busy rather than productive, reactive rather than responsive. I function out of crystallized habits according to my past rather than creatively according to my potential. And he's got a little box that looks like this that says practice, mapping the inner body landscape. So he's giving us something to do, something to practice to come more awareness of the words that he's speaking about. When asked, "How do you feel?" we may habitually respond without pausing to reflect or observe, "I'm fine." We might say whether or not we truly feel fine. There is frequently a lack of coherence between what is felt by the body and what is being experienced emotionally or mentally. When we become aware of this incoherence, we start to notice our own areas of physical discomfort, tension, and dissociation. Likewise, we can sense incoherence in others. For example, you might notice when another person doesn't feel in touch with their body, or as though they're not fully present in their physical form. And he goes on, so I'm just going to go on, and this is one more page, and then I'll stop there. This is still part of the practice. To create greater space present and therefore coherence in our bodies, we can engage in a simple contemplative technique. In this practice, you will witness your body from the inside by tuning in to its energies and sensations. While reading this, take a survey of your body. noticing the parts that feel more present and accessible. In these areas, you may notice there is more available information or aliveness. Next, see whether you can observe which areas of the body feel less accessible or less available. Notice the contrast between the areas of your body that feel more alive and immediate, and any areas where you may need to concentrate harder in order to feel. What happens when you move your awareness into these less available parts? What images, thoughts, or emotions come up? After feeling the parts of your body that are open and accessible, see if you can check in with your current level of stress. Where does your stress currently fall on a scale from 1 to 10? Now notice the sensations you call stress and see if you can embrace those sensations a bit more, softening into the stress. See if you can hold an awareness of your bodily sensations and the stress, which will allow your nervous system to integrate some of the stress and redistribute that energy into the body's overall flow and relaxation. Map your body's inner landscape daily. Regularly observe its sensations and any other information it contains. With regular practice, you will notice a greater sense of coherence between your physical, emotional, and mental bodies. You will also be better able to witness, to feel with what is happening inside another person. And that seems like plenty. And I would suggest, which I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and upload this. And when it's uploaded, I'm going to listen to it again because I'm really paying attention while I'm reading it. But I seem to get more from it when I listen to it. So see how that works for you. And it's a pleasure reading to you. And Nowmustgo.